Hey, good afternoon. Monday afternoon here. I want to do a little bit of cleanup on the last file. Thinking this will be a shorter one, but you know how that goes. You start having fun, and the files seem to get a little longer. Did some more reading last night. Tried to clean up a few minor details. Nothing major. Some of it just procedural things. And thanks for joining me. Remember to subscribe to the channel below and hit the bell icon so that you get updates. And if you wouldn't mind, I have an Amazon affiliate link. If you need to buy anything on Amazon, if you click that link, anything you buy, I don't get to see what you bought per se, but I get a small percentage of it. So I think the weirdest thing anyone's ever bought on there is they bought some kind of elephant cleaning supplies. So I have no idea how that works. But anyway, so thanks for joining us. This is for Clash of Arms Games Lobositz. And I think I'm saying that right. I'm going by some other people. We're going to continue with turn one movement. But I want to clean up a few things. So the first thing is I was kind of concerned because it's the 6 a.m. turn and we're almost to the end, which will have limited movement. And I was like, how am I, so when you normally play this game, you can start on the 8 a.m. turn. And all your dudes, all the Prussian guys are like lined up around here, right? And the Austrians are lined up and they're getting ready to go at it. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Oops, wrong one. That there's no way I'm going to get all this stuff moved up there in like 2 or 3 turns. Well, I forgot one little detail. I think I said each turn is an hour. That is not true. Each turn is 20 minutes. Because you have this little thing here, so we're on the 0-0 mark. And once we hit the bottom of this one and we go back up to the top, then it'll go to the 6:20 mark. So it all came back to me. It was like, oh, yeah. So each one of these is really going to go through 3 times before the next hour. So we still have plenty of time to move up. Troops. Doesn't mean it gives us a reason to dawdle. One other thing I wanted to do that I thought of is I forgot to put these guys in a road column. Now, that should be obvious because of the road column extensions, but I am going to put them in road column, and then I like to put that marker on the bottom because this game is so visually fun to look at that I think, why would I want to put that ugly black and white counter on there over these nice markers? So I know there's a shortcut where you can move things up and down the stack, but I don't remember what it is. I don't want to do it in case they start messing things up. So then when I hover over it, I can still see they're in road column because I'll see the marker. We'll see how that goes, but I just, these are beautiful looking markers, and they're just, to cover them up with a black and white one just doesn't seem right. So there's that. And then I was reading because I was wondering last night, when does this guy, this wing commander, when does he move? Well, he's considered a non-command commander. Okay, a non-command unit, I think. So you have independent units and non-command units. And when I activated one of these guys, I could have activated him and they would have moved with him. So there's 2 ways I can go about this. I could just give myself a mulligan and say he was activated but moved, because otherwise, he's going to be out of range because he's a 5, I think. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's just out of range, right? So he'd have moved with him. The other thing is when I still have this command to activate, and I still have all my off-board command to activate. And same with Lacey here. If I want to utilize him, he's going to have to move up. And same with Brown. Basically, he can activate. So what happens, what I think I can do, is he can activate anytime another command activates. So the next time the Austrians win the initiative, Brown, he's in command range. He's in command range. And I'll activate this. I think this is 1 unit, if I remember right, all under this dude here. W is that he can activate these guys like independent units and then they can move. I don't think it has to be when you're activating somebody under their command. And I wondered, do they have to be in command of the commander that's being activated? Do they have to be in range of him? That just seems dumb. This guy would not answer to that guy. I'm not saying that's what the rules say. I'm just saying I was trying to figure out how to reason in my head how to do that. And it just seems like that should not be a contingent to be in command of the lower level commander. That doesn't seem, that's going backwards. So that's how I'm going to do it. If any of you veteran players out there know how to do it, let me know, but that seems fine. Then I put these finished markers here by these independents, right? Because I really don't want to cover these up. And when I put them underneath, I don't know if it'll be as recognizable. They also do have in Vassal, you have this little black marker on here that says moved, which they're not real prominent on this game, even if you zoom in, which that's not a very playable level. But you can see them there just fine. So that'll also tell me, but this gives a little flavor on the map. And I think that might be is that a Prussian one? We can't have that. So, sorry, this is just a little OCD on my part. Markers. Lobositz smart. Yeah, that's a Prussian one. We can't have a Prussian flag on there. What's going on with that? So, we'll, Prussians get way more than the Austrians. We'll put that one there. Okay, so sorry, that's just an OCD thing. I can't have a Prussian flag over there. So we still got these guys that we're going to have to move. Remember, if you go back to the other video, you'll see where these guys are off board and how I'm doing that. I'm not using the off board marker because you don't have to. A lot of guys will, if you're playing physically, they'll photocopy it or whatever, and they'll put the stacks on there visually. That's a lot easier. But it also says in the rule book you can just write on there and whatnot. So we're going to continue movement. If for some reason we run into a combat here, what I wanted to look at real quick is what do the vineyards do? They block line it. They do not block line of sight. So that is fascinating. And infantry can move 2. So moving onto the vineyard, I don't know if this guy could whip around here and start shooting. So we might get into some combat. We're going to try to continue to hustle this cavalry out of here, but we're going to have to seriously look at trying to swing around with some of these infantry. Now, that's a big stack of infantry there. I got to get those guys off because if these guys ran up and shot at them, they would have a huge modifier for that many dudes in a hex. So I think I was doing that to try to keep these guys. So my plan was I was going to use, I think this is Kleist. I was going to use Kleist and move his units up, which entails all of this stuff here, right? And try to flesh these Grenzers out. And then these guys are going to just kind of use this road and go swinging by. I don't know if that's a good plan to be in march column and get shot at. So we might have to run into some combat here early on with the infantry to see if we can start pushing the Grenzers back. But they can only go 2, so we'd be at long range. So I'll be able to get some guys in range, but not a ton. And let's go look at these woods here. What does woods do? So woods and vineyards are both going to cost 2 movement points. Let me look at one other thing here. Steep slopes. I haven't looked at the slopage here. I guess there are some slopes here, so I got to be careful with that. Yeah, so this is going to be kind of a slog fest. It's probably going to be about 40 minutes to get everybody up here and start pushing them back. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I might move this infantry out, but I might have to hold up with some of this stuff. That is unfortunate. This is really a pain. You wouldn't think, what are these, 100 guys each? You got 500 men there holding up a big army if we don't start pushing back. Maybe these guys will also get in their grill over here. Now, they're in march column, so that would be a formation change. But I get ahead of myself. So let's grab the old turn sequence here on the rule book. And we're basically in the initiative determination phase over and over. Remember, the Prussian die roll will be first. And we're basically just continuing the turn. And so Prussian die rolls first. It does a +5 for Frederick the Great. And Brown gives a +4. So he's not that bad, which surprised me last night when I was playing. I was like, I thought Frederick would be like smoking these guys, but apparently he's not completely Napoleon or whatever. So anyway, here we go. We got a 2 and a 6. So that's a 7 and a 10. So the Austrians win the initiative again. That's only an 8, so we don't move our marker down the chart. So we're good there. So we started out of the gate like a racehorse, and we've had a lot of turns now where we haven't had to do anything. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to activate this stuff over here. We don't want to forget these leaders. We're going to have to get the wing commanders moved up a little bit. And we're going to want to probably move Brown this turn, because the one thing I did read in the rules is, like, let's say I move all my formations. Now I still have my off-board formations. But if I moved all my formations and all I had left was independent units or leaders, you can't activate them alone. Independent units can only activate when they're being activated by a command leader. So let's go look at this W guy. See who he is. So that's going to be Weed. How many guys he got here? Oh, and we also got this artillery guy that can move with the artillery. Oh, each one of those must have been 2. So those are battalions. So this is, okay, so game turns, like these 2 dudes here form a regiment, and each of those are a battalion. So we want to try to keep, in my opinion, you want to keep those regiments together for regimental integrity, which really helps with stuff. Okay, so we're going to activate Weed, I think it was. So the first thing we do is check his command range. So obviously, 1, 1.5, or 2, 3. So he's in command by more than anything. We're going to also activate this guy and this guy, because Brown is activating a command. And we're also going to activate the artillery and this artillery commander. Now, let's double check this. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we're good there and good there. So I had this artillery up there. But they're going to have to formation change. So let's read through the sequence of play, because that will tell us the order to do things. And we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So the active player traces a line of command from his army leader to his just activated command leader. This line of command can be augmented by a wing leader in the armies to command leader chain of command, blah, blah, blah. If a line of command does not exist, which we're good with that. I'm sorry. We already did all that. So then there's no disorder recovery. There's no fire combat here. Movement segment. Units using voluntary route are designated before any units are moved. Unit breakdowns and reforms is performed before the parent unit or its components have moved. Activated units perform formation changes, facing changes, and movement. So you do all. I want to know when I was supposed to limber up this artillery. And so I think what I'm going to do first is move the infantry out. And my plan that I'm kind of formulating is I want to get these other Grenzers here up into the vineyards, because I think they're going to want that terrain, right? They're not going to want to be out in the open. And then I have this nice little line of grenadiers here, and I have a couple grenadiers moving here. And then I got this decent little cavalry unit as far as I'm concerned in the middle. And then I got some guns here I need to move up. I got 3 guns, it looks like. So I think I'm going to try to keep them together as kind of a battery. I'm thinking about maybe kind of pushing them up here a little bit, but leaving them back. I don't know how much further I want to push the Austrians up. I mean, I'm kind of running up there, but am I being a buffoon? Because A, it's going to take these guys time to get there and these guys time to get there. And I'm going to engage the enemy when he has to come to me. All I have to do is hold the objectives, right? So, but could I push up here and bottleneck him in this little valley thing here and make this village kind of break up his line? I don't know. I just don't know. I'm just going to enjoy moving the counters because strategic-wise, I don't know if I got a good grasp. Which then makes me think, what do I do with these guys? So, like, these guys are all a bunch of 7s, right? So they can form. Let's go look at the rules because I got to double check. I think it's the Prussians are 4 lines, or it says in the rules. Let's go check that to make sure. Prussians in 3 ranks, Austrians in 4. So, which is bad to be in 4 because you can't fire as much. Right? So here's something to think about. So this would be the Prussian column. This is the Austrian column. So let's just look at the 7. So when you have a 7 strength point unit, well, that's going to be similar. Well, it's not really. It's similar, but so if you have a 7 strength point unit, the Prussians can have 3 in one hex and 4 in the other. They create that extended line, which we'll get into. And then when they can fire the 3 and the 4. So all 7 strength points can fire. But when you're in 4 ranks and you divide to the 3 and the 4, you only get to fire with 5. So the Austrians are not going to bring as much firepower to bear. That's still 5, though, because if I leave them... Okay, so like if these guys stay like this, right, without extending their line and they fire, you can only fire 4 strength points out of that hex max. That's my understanding. But if they're in 2 lines, I could fire 5. So I'm thinking that's beneficial. I'm getting 1 extra strength point, and I can cover more ground north to south. So as being a complete noob, I'm thinking I might want to leave some guys in a single hex formation instead of a multi-hex formation. And we'll see how that plays out. Okay. Formation changes. Let's go look at that real quick. I'm not sure it's going to be on here. Formation. Find formation change. Okay. So do we have... Do we have an artillery one? Well, let's look that up real quick. That's what I probably wanted to look up before we got started, but we're just doing her live here. So let's go to the beginning of the book, look at formations, page 12. Changing formation. That's the other thing is they talk a lot about general order. I don't think there's any general order issues. There's no general order terrain in this. Maybe the marsh is. I don't think the towns are. Okay, artillery formation changes. Changing from limbered to unlimbered is considered a formation change. In addition, An activated artillery unit that has fired in the fire combat segment cannot limber in the following movement segment. See artillery movement by prolong for unlimbered artillery. We don't need to do that. Artillery that limbers and unlimbers in an unoccupied hex may face in any direction without any extra cost. Artillery that unlimbered in an occupied hex must conform to the facing of the unit already in the hex. Artillery that limbers in a hex-occupied infantry may face any direction and must exit the hex. Artillery that limbers in a hex with other limbered artillery may face any direction if it intends to exit, but it must conform to their facing if it remains. And it costs 2 movement points to limber up. Limbered artillery changes to and from road column in the same way. We're not going to do that. And, okay. So it's going to cost us 2 movement points is what you want. So let's move the infantry first. I think I'm going to, well, let's move the artillery first. I'm going to move these guys up here. So let's flip him over. So he's limbered. And only move 4. Let's go look at the terrain effects chart. And let's go find artillery, and the clear is a 1. And I only got 1 movement point left. So boom, boom. Let's limber this dude up. And 1, 2. Because he's in the clear. And then we got this dude here. Let's move him and go 1, 2. Now let's zoom in at that. I don't think that means anything, but let's go look at the... No, there's nothing on there. I don't think that is anything except just like there's some bushes there as a graphic. So that didn't cost us any extra. So we only got to move 2 each. I think just for purposes of moving, we'll move this guy with the artillery. Right? And then now the limbered artillery cannot stack with this infantry. So for whatever reason, any of these infantry units wanted to move here and stop, they cannot. There's also rules on passing through other units. I got to be careful there. That might not have been the best move, but we're going to leave it. I'm going to move all the commanders when I'm done, because this is going to kind of distinguish who's going to end up where. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to move this guy 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, they have to zigzag or they take that disorder check. Which is really going to hose this, because now that guy's in the way. Good job, clown. No matter which way I move. If I go this way, I got to go down. If I go this way, I got to go up. I can oblique this way and try to get it and go back up here. But then we have to make a disorder check, I believe. So let's do that. Just because I was a fool and moved my guns in front of my infantry and got in the way. Let's look at how that works. I don't want to do pass-through movement, I think, because then I think both test. Okay, oblique movement, 11.3. Infantry in line or attack column formation moves straight ahead by alternating left and right. Remember, the Prussians don't have to do that. The hex they move into without changing facing, there is no extra movement cost for straight marching other than normal terrain cost. Infantry in line or attack column formation may oblique move by not alternating the next hex move into, but all terrain costs for that hex. Oh, and it also costs an extra 1. Oh. All right, well, let's go read real quick about pass-through movement and see how much of a pain that's going to be. So this is Rule 10.7, pass-through. During a unit's movement, pass-through can occur only when it enters and exits a friendly occupied hex. If any one of the following was true during the moving unit's movement through the occupied hex, a pass-through occurred. The units were different types. Yeah. So that right there will make it happen. But if you have different facing or different formations, So anyway, it doesn't matter. We hit it right away with their different types. We got our limbered artillery and infantry in line. So let's jump down to each of the following situations not considered to be a pass-through. Let's make sure that and does not require a disorder. At the conclusion of moving the unit's movement segment, a disorder check A is required for both the moved unit and stationary unit or stack that was passed through. So here's what isn't considered pass-through, and we'll just buzz through these 5 real quick so we kind of remember them. When an infantry unit in line formation enters and exits a hex containing another infantry unit in line formation from any angle direction provided it did not change facing while it occupied the hex. When a skirmisher unit, infantry or cavalry, enters or exits a friendly occupied hex regardless of non-moving unit types. When a retreating unit, we're not doing that. When a unit ends its movement legally stacked in a hex, regardless of what facing formation was upon entering the hex. So there's nothing about being able to blow off the artillery. So we're going to have to do that. So I'm going to do this. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And now both of those guys have to make a disorder check A, which was, so disorder check A. So let's look at that. Let's go look at the chart and see if this is it. Those are special results. That's fire combat, so we don't want that. Let's look at this. Does this have it? No, it's not on that. Facing change, it wouldn't be involved in that. Formation change, it's not on that. So it's not any of those. This is combat related. I know I saw it on here. I just have to learn here, disorder check. Movement actions. The movement disorder check can be triggered in any of these issues. So pass-through movement, see box below, 10 points. So here's pass-through movement, 10.7. Okay. Not really sure. Pass-through examples. Cavalry unit line enters and exits a hex containing infantry line that is also stacked with unlimbered artillery. An infantry unit march column enters and exits a hex. It's a cavalry unit. Infantry unit line enters and exits a hex containing an infantry and march column. I think that version, that 3 affects it because it's different formations. But I don't know. So we're going to play on the side of caution. And I don't think it should matter too much because we're far enough back. They should have time to shake out of disorder, but we'll see. At the end of the unit's movement, for both the unit moving and the unit pass through, all right, and the efficiency rating modifiers, +1 for each hex or hex side of triggering terrain, +5 if the stack used rapid march, +10 for each pass-through hex, +5 if the stack is disordered, minus apply any leader modifiers. When multiple events trigger the movement disorder check, pass-through and rapid march, all the ER modifiers that were accumulated. So I think the only one we have is a +10 for each pass-through hex. We have 1 pass-through hex. So we got to flip this dude. And his efficiency rating is a 35. Let's flip this dude. I'm not really sure. Maybe you don't do that with artillery. All right. Let me look at the unit counter here. Oh, that's his effectiveness rating is the big number. I thought that was the effective range. So the 20 is an effectiveness rating. All right, so it's going to be a 45 and a 30. We'll do this first guy. So 2D, first number is 10, second number is the ones. I rolled a 13. So these guys are golden. And these guys need a... Oh, wait. No. I'm sorry, that is not correct. You need to roll below or above that number, because the higher that number, that's bad. So 13 is bad, so they are disordered. So disordered. That I might leave the ugly counter on there. It's kind of hard to see that there's a counter there. So I think I'm going to leave the disorder on top when they're disordered. Now this guy would be a 30. And he got a 35, so he is fine. So we'll flip him back because he's moving. Okay, so we disordered there because we were clowns. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm seeing one problem I have. I was going to kind of split these guys out, but I got a command range I got to deal with. So I can't just, have everyone running around like a bunch of crazy guys. These independent guys are fine. I think we might have to... we're going to do this. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So we're not going to be real creative here in the beginning. We're just going to have to see how this all shakes out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so everyone is moved for units. Now I got to move my commanders, which this guy is active. He's active. He's going to be active because I got to get him moved up and him. So let's do him first. He's got to move at a 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then everyone will be golden there. So he's activated. Lacey needs to be up and around. We got Haddock here. He's got a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's going to have to go 1, 2, 3. Let's go 4 to here. So, and then let's take a look at Brown here, because he's going to be able to get to Haddock. I don't remember Haddock's range. He's a 5. So some of these guys are starting to get out of command range. So we're going to have to bring up Weed here so he can help control some of these Grenzers, I think. So this is a really small game, but there's plenty going on for a new player to make sure you don't get yourself out of command and control. I'm going to flip him, but I may change him a little bit. We'll see. Because Brown is here. He can reach there. He can go to his wing commander here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But we need to get Weed up here. And he's only a 5. He can move 8. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then these guys technically are a half. He's got to get up one more. I'm more concerned about pushing these Grenzers than these guys. Move this here, move this guy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't remember if I moved through here. Was that a 2, 3, 4? Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think this counts as touching. We'll find out. We'll look it up. But he's going to go there. They may end up having one guy out of command, and he would move half movement speed. Brown is here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so he can reach there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 if I needed to. Actually, there's no reason for him to stay way back. Maybe he wants to use this road because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He could control the Grenadiers on his own, or the Grenzers. So let's move him here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's move him here. And are we still good here? We should be 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 4. So he can use that wing commander. He's in distance of this guy, so we know he's in command. He's in command. So let's flip him. And you flip the army commander. I can't remember if you ever flip him or not. I think you do. I'll look that stuff up to make sure. This guy has to flip. So everyone on map has activated for the Austrians. We still have the off-map stuff right here. So we got 4 more formations that can still do stuff. And even if they end up getting all the moves in a row and the Prussians still have guys, you still keep rolling. Sorry, a little frog in the throat today. All right, so we're done with movement for that unit. I didn't worry about disorder, fire combat, all that stuff. No close combat, obviously. So let's go back to initiative. Oh, we got a 9 and a 2. So this time we got an 11 combined, which means this is going to drop 1, which is bad for the Prussians at this point because the Austrians have pretty much done whatever they wanted to. But here, obviously, Frederick gets to go first. So I think we will move. And one of the things I was getting confused with last night was cavalry in a clear hex is still half movement. The only difference is if you're on that road right here, you get the facing changes for free. You don't get them for free down here. That's okay. So let's activate this big dude here. He's got all these guys marked with KY. So that guy is Kia. Okay, so I think we're going to move them for now. And just get them down along here and start moving to the south of the village. So this is going to involve these 4, so we activate them, right? And we know that, where is Frederick? Back one more, I think he's right here. Yeah, there's Frederick the Great. So he would basically have to count to here, but we know all the guys down here were in command range, so we know we're golden. So let's just start moving these guys half. So 1, and I don't have to worry about the facing change here. 2, half, 1, 1.5. And I think I'm just going to keep going straight. So that would be 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4.5, 5, 6. Okay, so I got to remember these aren't ones, they're halves. I'm not going to turn him because he would get the free facing changes. So until I get off road. So half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 5 to make the facing change, 5.5, and then we're not going to stack them up there. And we'll grab this guy. So 1, it's easier if I just jump them like this. 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 5.5. And he's going to stop there. And then same with this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Do I make the change now or do I wait? I'll use one more movement point and turn and then just stay right there. Now, so I'm going to have to remember I got to get my leaders down here. These guys will all be out of command. I skipped all the... So I'm not going through the whole thing every turn. I did that on my last video. But when you do the initiative, you do the command activation. Then you do the command control segment to make sure they're in command. Then you would do disorder recovery, which we don't have any, except now we will next time. Fire combat segment. And then you do movement, but these are cavalry, so they can't fire. So I've been kind of skipping that without saying it. I just wanted to point that out so you guys are aware of it. And I just wanted to check because for some goofy reason I was thinking, did I forget to hit record? All right, so then when you're all done, you flip your leader so that you know that he's been activated and he's done. And we go back to the initiative phase. We basically got one more cav unit, I think. Is this a cav unit? No, that's some artillery. And I think we're going to leave that artillery back until things clear out a little bit. I'm not sure. We'll maybe start moving them down the road. Move them down the road here. But I don't want to get too carried away. I think when I activate these guys next, I'm going to activate these independents. Let's see. This village is kind of a pain in the butt. Okay, so back to initiative. So we got an 8 and a 4 again. So that's a 12, which is bad for the Prussians. They don't want this to get to the limited movement yet. So it moves down 1 because these two numbers combined are greater than the end of turn number of 9. But the Prussians win, so they get to pick. So we're going to activate this cavalry. We're getting a little log jammed on this road. Could follow this little stream and come zipping out over the top of this one maybe. So I'm going to activate him. We already know he's in range of Frederick, who's a 10, right? Because these are halves, so 1, 2, plenty of room. And we're going to activate these independents with him. Okay, so we're going to move these guys first. We're going to go 1. And we're going to make a facing change for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little half thing gets me every time. All right, so let's straighten that guy out. All right, I like the leaders up and down because then they're a little easier to find. All right, then this guy is going to go 1, and a half, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. So he lost a little bit of space there, and then this guy is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Did I do that guy right? Well, I'm not going to go back. I don't like doing the reverse thing. Sometimes it messes up on Vassal. You can do this and start moving guys back. Well, let's do it. I already committed to it, so he started there. So he'd go 1. Oh yeah, it's that stupid little half. Well, so this guy was here, so he would have went 1, turn for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he did it right. This guy would go 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. Oh, I keep thinking these are 1, so he can move to there. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then these guys, they're just going to move as a stack. They're not necessarily going to follow those guys, but let's take a look at what we could do. We could go 1, 2, 3. And we could change facing for 4, 5. Honestly, don't know what to do with those guys. I don't want to get up here on these different heights necessarily, and I certainly want to stay away from any kind of hex side issues. I don't see a ton there. I mean, this is pretty flat. I don't want to get... You know what? I'm going to move my thing alongside here, and I can always shoot south. So let's do that. Let's go 1, 2, I don't like that. 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to put them behind here. 1, 2, 2 is there. 3, 3.5. 4.5, 5.5, and we'll just leave it like that. I was thinking about whipping them around here and they'd get to like here, I think, or here, but I don't know if that's worth it or not. So that was this guy moved, so we'll flip him, and he's been activated. So now we got to see how many of these guys. Now these dudes are in march. If I put them in, if I change formation, it's going to cost them half their movement points, so they'd be able to move 2 hexes. And this is an independent guy here, a nice little guard unit or something. So my plan about shooting alongside this road, ignoring these guys, probably not so great. Oops, wrong thing. I wanted to look at the road. Well, it's a half movement, so I could get past them pretty good. Oh, but as soon as they move here, they can get fired on here and here. Dirty rottens. These guys can move out, so they could go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we got that. We can pull this guard unit with them. We got Bevern here. I think that's part of his. Yeah, this is all Bevern. Bevern's a big group. This is whoever PB is. Not sure who that is. Oh, this seemed like such a good plan, but maybe it wasn't. Well, let's see. We're gonna try to activate these guys and move, and maybe get into a little fire combat. And maybe we'll try to run by with these guys first. But let's see what happens. Let's do the roll first. So initiative. Oh, Prussians win again. But now we are getting down to the end, man. We haven't rolled the dreaded 0 thing, which I think can speed things up. But let's... Are those all independent guys? Let's go look at the chart there. Well, yes, they are. These are all independents. So Bevern, if he moves, could activate these guys. I was thinking that was its own unit, but I have to activate a command to activate them. I can't just activate them on their own. What do we got here? We got the artillery. All right, I think we're going to have to activate Bevern. Is that his name? Am I saying it right? I should probably check so I'm not slaughtering it. Yep, or Bevern, I think that's how you say it. Okay, so we know he's in range. He's right here. And then the stack under him plus this stack is his, plus he's going to activate. So he's activating all this minus that guy. But we can't get within 2 of these dudes or they can shoot. So these guys are going to have to make facing changes and move this way. So I think we're going to do that. So these guys are all active. We don't have any disorder issues. We're not firing anyone. They're in column. So we're going to start moving these dudes. So they can move half. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this guy is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So they go racing by these guys up in the vineyards who are like seeing all these Prussians streaming by. Now this group, I'm going to keep in a stack. I don't want to shake out into line. So 1 to change. Well, we better go make sure. Yeah, I think it was the same, but we better not assume. So it's half for infantry moving in column. And let's go look at facing changes. And I think it was all other units in line. Or no, that's in column. All other units in march. It's only 1 to go. One deal. So we're good there. All right. So we just want to make sure. So 1, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4. I don't think so. No, we're not doing that. Because those Grenzers could just run out and pop us in column, and I don't think that's going to be good at all. No siree. I think we're going to have to go down this road and go this way, and then these guys are going to have to shift out. So let's do that. So 1, 2, and now I can follow the road because I'm in column for free. So 2, 3, 4. And okay. And then this guy, that's the leader, so we'll leave him on there. So same thing. Formation change for 1, 2, and then 3, 4. And that was it, because these guys are part of this guy, PB, whatever his name is. I don't know what it is. And then, what are those guys? Oh, that's PB2. Okay, so this is 1 unit here. And then what do we got here? We got, KL. Oh, that's KL is part of this. Is that Klein, I think? So he's part of this to attack. All right, so these guys are all done. So let's flip him. And then we move these independents. So we got to go get a marker for that. And so let's just put a thing by them. So we know these guys are all finished. They're independents. So, looking vastly different than I thought it would. Let's see if we can get one more move out of the Prussians here before we wrap this up. If we can, what I want to do is push what these guys see. Because if this guy can get around here, he might be able to cause some problems. And open up this... I don't know if that doesn't open up the road, though. All right, let's just see what happens. Let's do one more activation. So these guys are all... That's flipped, so he's all done. Oh, you know what? I got to remember wing leaders, too. Same with these guys. All right, so let's remember wing leaders. Okay. So 10. So it goes down to here. And now the Prussians, we're going to activate, I think it's Kleist. We're going to activate Kleist. We know he's within range. I need to go over, I think this guy here is the wing leader, Gessler, but let's go double check on our chart. Gessler, yep, he's in charge of all the cavalry, so I got to get him whipped down there for the cavalry. So we need to activate Gessler. And we need to activate Keith. So Gessler, and where's Keith? Keith is right here. So we're going to activate Keith and Gessler as non-command commanders, and Kleist. And I think we'll leave Frederick there for now. Okay, so let's do that. So first we want to get Gessler down here with the cavalry. So 1, 2, he's got a command range of 6. And if he uses roads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Okay, so we know we got Frederick up here, so he's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So I mean, we can get Gessler down here pretty easy, and that'll put this whole batch in command. For next turn, I'm going to wait with Keith, and I'm going to see how Kleist does on his movement. And we're going to have some opportunity fire, I think. So let's read the opportunity fire when that actually happens, because that's important. Does it happen after we're done moving, or? So let's see. Opportunity fire, 12.8, page 23. Opportunity fire is a form of fire combat that is performed by reactive units during the movement segment only and does not occur any other time in the game turn. It is triggered when an active unit changes facing formation or exit a hex within the reactive unit's infantry fire range and or artillery minimum fire range, changes to and from general order formation, although involuntary, still trigger opportunity fire. Any non-routed reactive unit capable of performing fire combat can execute opportunity fire within the normal fire combat rules. It is voluntary. A unit may opportunity fire any number of times and at the same or different enemy unit any number of times in a movement segment. Oh, that's interesting. When several units are eligible to fire at the same enemy unit, their fire strengths are totaled and resolved as one combat, as in the normal fire combat rules, although infantry and artillery still fire separately. Opportunity firing artillery units in different hexes firing at the same time. Okay, we don't have to worry about that right now. Opportunity fire triggered by facing formation change is resolved after the facing formation change is completed, using the formation and target unit aspect that most favors the firing unit. That's all about formation changes. Opportunity fire triggered by a unit exiting a hex is resolved before the unit exits the hex. A unit may be fired upon any number of times by opportunity fire in its movement segment. However, opportunity fire can only be triggered twice in any one hex. Once for any facing formation change and once for exiting the hex. When a moving unit triggers opportunity fire in a hex already occupied by another non-moving unit, all modifiers that favor the firing units are used. This means that the total number of strength points in the hex is used for target unit size. Okay, so unit density. So they don't really say what the opportunity fire range for infantry is. So infantry has a range of 2 hexes. So what I'm wondering is if these guys move up here, do they? So let's say, okay, so like theoretically, I might have to stop and look this stuff up. So maybe I'll move what I can, and then when I get to where it's opportunity fire, I'll have to just continue from there. Because like this guy here is a 1, right, to go here, because he's in line. As soon as I go here for 2, these do not block line of sight. And now they're in range of this guy and this guy. Is that infantry opportunity fire range? You know what I'm saying? So I think I'm going to make a note here and probably stop here today because I want to look this up, and it might take me a while to look up some things because it wasn't real clear there. Let's take a look at the charts real quick. See if there's anything on here that gives ranges. I don't see anything on that. Okay, so I don't see anything on that tells me anything. This is fire combat multiples. Yeah, so I need to look that up. So I'm going to make a quick note here. Continue with Prussian activation. Kleist is moving and will provoke op fire from Grenzers, and we still need to move Wing Commander Keith. That's the nice thing about Vassal. You can put little notes in there. They also have, well, they don't have it on here, but they usually have a thing for notes. But if you run a log file, which I did, all of these moves are recorded. I didn't do that in the beginning for setup and stuff because dragging guys around and setting them up isn't a big deal. But if you need to go back and correct anything, you can see all your movements. So I'm going to want to look up all this stuff on this. This will be a complex engagement for our first time. So I want to look up how the Grenzers work as light infantry. I want to look up how it works for moving these guys into opportunity fire. We might as well learn and look up effective range of artillery because I thought that was on the piece, but that wasn't the effective range. That was their ability. I forget what that thing is called. The effective modifier or something like that. But I think we need to wait on that. Now it's interesting because we are getting down to where we're only going to, now we are lucky that these guys are all in column, right? So when we have that restricted movement, we could start moving stuff down. But we're going to have to definitely use Kleist and push these Grenzers out of here. They are going to cause us a problem, and I want to learn how that works. So I appreciate you joining me for today. Any comments? If you guys that know the rules really well want to fire in some comments on rules or how things work, please do. And we'll continue probably next week. I don't know if I'll get to any more this week. But we'll check that out. I'm excited to go read about this stuff right now and see how this is going to play out. And then we'll go through that. And it's been fun. We got the Prussians are moving around. They're kind of a big blob down here right now. So they're getting into position. We got some infantry moving out. The Austrians are aggressively pushing forward. I don't know. It's like almost like I can't help myself. I'm just pushing them forward. I don't even know if that's a good plan. That's probably really ridiculous, as I want to be able to let these guys get on and my off-map guys here, right? But that's where we're at. It's good times. So thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you in the near future.